Good evening, everyone. I hope you are all well. Sorry, I was just sent a couple of links out, so I'm just making sure that they've got those and that you can see my mat. So I'm just double checking. I will keep my phone on and check the emails in case anybody, and I will look here just to make sure I've got no messages. Making sure you can see me and it's not too dark. We are starting easy cross-legged. And I'm just checking my messages. Okay, so I hope you all had a lovely Christmas. There may be a couple of other people joining us, so we'll just come easy cross-legged. I've got my cushion that I'm sitting on just to make me feel a little bit more comfortable. If you've not done YouTube Live or any videos at home, it's just making sure that your area is safe. There's nothing that you can kick or not, or nothing that will tumble on you. If you've got your socks on, if they're not grippy socks, just be careful that you don't slip. I might just kick mine off later. If you're playing any music, let's get that ready now. And let's hit play if you're playing music in 3, 2, 1, play. And then whilst you're here, let's have a little wiggle from side to side. Eyes can be open, eyes can be closed. You can even come over so you bring that lower arm down to the thigh. Just taking your time, just softening. I'm just checking for messages while we're sitting here. And just swaying from side to side. And that breath is just soft and easy, just checking in with how you're feeling. And then next time you come over to the right, just pause in here. I'm just resting my elbow lower arm to the thigh. You can bring that palm or the elbow down to the floor if that feels right for you. Just checking there's no tension or strain in that neck. And then slowly float up and over to the other side. Just pause in here. And then slowly come back up and maybe bring the fingertips behind you, just lifting that chest up, maybe a little sway from side to side. And then slowly come up, weight even on both seat bones. And then just take a nice deep breath in, float those arms and fingertips all the way up to the ceiling. And as you exhale, bring the palms together. Slowly float the hands all the way back to heart center. And just allow the thumbs to plug into the heartbeat. Soften the fingers, soften the shoulders, close those eyes. Take a nice deep breath in, open the mouth, a gentle sigh out. 2 more times, inhale. And a gentle sigh out. Last one. Inhale wide and full. And a gentle sigh out. And you can keep the eyes closed, just lean to one side and just slowly pull yourself round on meet in tabletop. And once you're there, shoulders are over the wrists, spreading those fingers wide, soften the knuckles of the fingers. Knees are underneath the hips, toes can be tucked. And just have a little sway from side to side. You're just looking down towards the mat, but just not dropping your head down. And if you want to, you can tuck your toes and you can have that little sway down, hip towards the heels. You can stay here for a moment or two, swaying. And then you can slowly float all the way back up, shoulders over wrists. And then keeping those eyes closed if you want to, slowly come into your tabletop hip circles. And then as you're circling here, just checking in with that spine, the neck, mid-back, lower back, all the way down to the tailbone. If it feels comfortable, maybe you can make those hip circles a little bit bigger. Checking in with the hips, the shoulders, the knees. That breath is soft and easy. Just carry on circling. And just let that breath flow. And then shoulders over the wrists, slowly, slowly, slowly. Changing direction. We'll start off from tabletop. Again, checking back in with that spine, the neck, mid-back, lower back, down to the tailbone. Maybe start making those hip circles a little bit bigger. Checking in with the shoulders, the hips, the knees. Just allowing that breath to flow. Breathing nice and easy. And we'll slowly meet with our shoulders over the wrist. And from here, have a little lean to the right. That left knee will float off the floor. You're going to step it wide so the hands on the inside of that left foot. So like a 90-90 lizard. Pause in here. That left knee with that left ankle, shoulders over wrist. I've got my right toes tucked and I'm just going to gently roll onto the outside edge of my left foot and bring the foot flat on the floor. I'm just going to roll that knee out and back in, nice and easy. You can stay still if that feels more comfortable for you. And then from here, I'm just bringing that foot flat to the floor and I'm just going to float back. So my foot floats off the floor, so I'm on that hill and then I float forward, floating back and forward, back and forward. And we'll do that one more time, just a gentle float back, slowly come forward. I'm just going to gently heel toe that left foot in so I can slowly come up to 90-90 kneeling lunge, bringing the top of that right foot to the floor. Left knee, left ankle, right hip, right knee, pelvis in neutral, arms just dangling at the side, and just gently roll those shoulders back. And you can open your eyes now. I should have let you know that earlier. Just rolling those shoulders back. And then from here, we just slowly float forward, have a little lean to the right, just so you can slide that left foot back. And then a little lean to the left, so that right knee floats off the floor, step it forward on wide, that 90-90 lizard, hands to the inside of that right foot. I've got my toes tucked, but your foot can be flat on the floor of that left foot. And just roll into the outside edge of that right foot, and then roll it back. So just rolling that right knee out, and in, out, and in. And then from here, I'm just going to float my hips back slightly. So I'm coming back onto that right heel, and then I'm floating forward so my foot comes to the floor, shoulders over the wrist. Just a gentle float, keeping those elbows soft, no forcing. Just a gentle warm up. Let's just do one more. And I'm floating forward. I'm just gently heel toe that right foot in so I can come up into my 90-90 kneeling lunge with that right foot forward, bring the top of the left foot to the floor. So you're pushing down to the top of that left foot, lifting out that left knee. Check your base, pelvis in neutral, arms dangling, and just roll those shoulders back. Let's do one more shoulder roll each side. And then slowly float forward, plant those hands, just have a little lean to the left, slide that right foot back, tucking those toes, and float the knees off the floor, hips up and back, downward facing dog. So in this dog, let's have lots of bending our knees, push up through the arms, lengthen the armpits, relax the head and neck, Maybe you stay still, maybe you sway the hips from side to side, maybe you pedal at the feet. And if you find that you're slipping like I was, just kick those socks off if they're not grippy. And then take a nice deep breath in. And as you exhale, lower the knees to the floor, tabletop. Have a little lean to the right, step that left foot wide, lizard. Just pause in here for a moment. Now, this right knee, you can bring it back a little bit if you want to, or you can keep it underneath that right hip. And then you can just roll back onto that foot, so rolling that knee out. You can stay here, or you can float those hips back as though you're coming into runners. Hands can stay by the foot, or you can walk them back and slowly forward. Or you can join me. I'm coming into those lizard hip circles. You can pad the hands around. They can stay in one place. You can have one hand on the mat, one off, and just work with your own range of movement. Checking in to see how the knees feel, the ankle, the lower back. And just letting the breath flow. And if you're joining me circling, slowly, slowly, slowly changing direction. And now slowly, slowly, slowly come forward, gently heel toe that left foot in, top of the right foot to the floor. Slowly, 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 slowly come all the way up. Check that pelvis is neutral, gentle activation of that right glute. Float the fingertips up towards the ceiling. Hands can be quite near the head or they can be wide. I've got my palms facing out, but they can face in up to you, and those elbows can be soft. Just that lovely stretch. And as you exhale, slowly bring the palms together, slowly bring the hands down through to heart center, and you can just allow the palms to connect to the heartbeat. And now, if you want to, you can tuck those right toes and push back onto all of that right foot. Keeping that pelvis in neutral, so those two hip points are pointing straight ahead. Gentle rotation to the left, maybe half an inch, maybe an inch, but we're not twisting, we're moving above, we're twisting, but we're moving above the pelvis, so those hips are staying still. Keep those fingers soft, shoulders are soft, and let's do one more twist. And I'll slowly come back to center. Slowly, slowly, slowly float down towards the floor, lean right, and then slide that left foot back. Have a little lean to the left and step that right foot forward and wide. That left knee can be underneath the hip or a little bit further back. You can pause here, you can roll onto the outside, inside of that foot. You can float the hips back as though you're coming into runners. Or you can start circling, coming to those lizard hip circles, just taking your time. Working with your own range of movement. Don't forget those hands will be still or you can move them. And then if you're circling with me, just slowly change direction, checking in the knee, the ankle, lower back, the hips. And now slowly, slowly, slowly come to center, slowly heel toe that foot in. So we can come up into our 90-90 kneeling lunge, bring the top of the left foot to the floor, pelvis in neutral. Push down to the top of that left foot, reach out that left knee, float the fingertips up towards the ceiling, have a lovely long stretch here. So again, the arms can be wide, they can be close to the head, palms can face in, or palms can face out. And then your next exhale, bring the palms together, slowly bring the hands down through to heart center. Check that those hip points are pointing straight ahead. Gentle activation of that left glute, keep that pelvis in neutral. Gentle rotation, about half inch or an inch to the right. So you're rotating through the rib cage. Let's do 4 more. 3 more. Shoulders are soft. 2. Fingers are soft. 1. And we'll just slowly float those palms down towards the floor, have a little lean left, sliding that right foot back, and then tuck the toes, hips up and back, downward facing dog. And then just slowly pedal out those feet, or maybe staying still. Relax the head and neck, you're pushing up through the arms, bending those knees, hips are high, checking in with the breath. And on your next exhale, slowly lower the knees to the floor, tabletop. Knees can be underneath the hips or a little bit closer. And then from here, just a little lean to the right. So that left knee floats off the floor. Bring that left foot flat to the floor. The toes can point towards the long edge of the mat, or the toes can point towards the back of the mat. Rolling that belly open to the left. Check the right shoulder, right wrist. Left hand can be on the left hip, or you can just be dangling here in space. Rolling that belly open. Check that you're not jutting that chin up or jutting that head up. Just pausing there, checking in, seeing how you're feeling. And on your next exhale, slowly roll it back. Tabletop. And then that roll to the left. So that right knee floats up, right foot flat to the floor. Left shoulder, left wrist. That right arm can just dangle here, or it can come to the right hip. Rolling that belly open, check your base. So we're leaning back into this left shoulder blade. And on your next exhale, slowly, slowly, slowly float it back to tabletop. Let's do one more each side, just rolling that belly open, just taking your time. Maybe this time you float the left fingertips up towards the ceiling. Checking in, right shoulder, right wrist, leaning back into that right shoulder blade. And when you're ready to exhale, slowly rolling it back down, tabletop, leaning to the left, coming around to the other side, pausing here, check your base. Left shoulder, left wrist, leaning back into that left shoulder blade. And then we'll slowly float back to tabletop, shoulders over the wrist. Gentle hug in, and then just bring one knee back, shift to that knee and bring the other knee back. Check that you're not sagging through those hips, lower down in one piece. So you're in baby cobra, you can stay here in your baby cobra, you can come to low cobra, whichever feels comfortable for you right now. We're not jutting that chin up. You can lift the crown of the head and the chest. And when you're ready, push down through those hands, lift up. And then we'll just slowly walk our hands back towards the knees. You can come and sit on the toes. You can come to low kneeling, or you can come to high kneel, whichever feels comfortable for you. I'm bringing my palms together, making a universal fist, but you can circle with two separate fists. If you need a drink, please grab a drink. Changing direction of those wrist circles. I'm just going to have a quick check for messages. And then we'll meet in our downward facing dog. And then once you're in your dog, just checking in with how you're feeling. Checking your position, the distance between the hands, the distance between the feet, and then the distance between the feet and the hands. So making sure that your dog is not too short or too long. Those hips are high, so you can keep that pelvis in neutral. Arms are active, head and neck's relaxed. And I'm going to come into that little bear crawl forward. So lots of bend in the knees. Just shift the weight to one side. So I'm shifting left, stepping my right foot forward. And then I'm just shifting right and stepping my left foot forward. And then I'm bringing one hand forward, the other hand forward. I'm just crawling forward. Coming to the front of my mat. I've got my feet about hip width apart. I'm just releasing my head down towards the floor. Lots of bend in the knees. So my rib cage is resting on my thigh. Awareness to the belly. And leading with the belly. Push down for both feet. Leading with the belly. Crawl up vertebrae by vertebrae. And just allow the palms to travel up the thighs all the way up. And once you get there, just weight shift from side to side. So you can bring your feet maybe a little bit wider than hip width, maybe shoulder width apart, pelvis in neutral, lovely long spine, crown of the head towards the ceiling. As you can see, guys, I'm in my nice comfy clothes, my comfy joggers. The weather is so horrible out there. It just makes you want to hibernate and wrap up nice and warm. And then from here, just keeping those arms nice and relaxed, you can give them a shake. We're going to come into a little chair float. So you can do a high chair, you can come down into a lower chair, just see how you feel. So weight even for both feet. Spread those toes wide, keep that pelvis in neutral. Inhale, float the arms up. When you're ready to exhale, just allow those hips to float back. You're bending at the knees, and I'm just allowing my arms to come down to shoulder height, releasing them down and back. And I'm pushing down for both feet as I lengthen out through my legs, reach my fingertips up towards the ceiling, pelvis back to neutral. Slowly floating into chair. It can be high, it can be low, it can be somewhere in between. Slowly, slowly, slowly come all the way back up. So chair is just basically a squat. And then slowly, slowly, slowly come all the way up. And then slowly bring the hands down through to heart center. And then shift the weight onto that right foot. Keep that right knee soft. Step that left foot back, 2 lines, not 1, coming into high crescent. So checking that pelvis is in neutral. So you may need to bend that back leg a little bit more. You're on the ball of that left foot. Hips straight on. Pausing here. Allow the thumbs to connect to the heartbeat. And then breathing into the sides and the back of the ribcage. Shoulders are soft. Face is soft. Fingers are soft. Just checking in. And then from here, just release those arms down to the side of your body. Shift the weight onto that right foot. And then slowly slide and step that left foot in. Shift the weight left. And then just step that right foot back. Check that pelvis is neutral. Crescent lunge. Bring the hands through to heart center. And then just check in. Checking in with that pelvis. Checking in with that back foot. And the ball of that right foot. Spreading the toes wide of that left foot. Feel the arches of that left foot activate. Shoulders are soft. And then just release those arms down. Shift the weight onto that left leg so you can step, slide forward. Reach fingertips all the way up to the ceiling. As you exhale, hip hinge all the way down. Plant the hands. Step, crawl it all the way back. Downward facing dog. And once you're in your dog, check your base. You can stay still, you can move. And on your next exhale, float the knees down towards the floor, tabletop. Have a little lean right, coming into that little side plank. You can stay here with this left knee bent with the foot flat on the floor, or you can slide it out. You can be on 2 lines, or you can slide it back so you're on 1 line. That right knee's roughly in line with that right hip, right shoulder, right wrist, rolling that belly open. You can stay here. You can reach fingertips up towards the ceiling. If you want to, you can float that left foot off the floor. So making sure you're lifting up from the bottom of that right rib cage and you're sinking down. And on your next exhale, just soften and roll it back to tabletop, and then roll into the left. And then coming into whichever side plank you want to, just slowly, slowly, slowly coming into your side plank. And then as you exhale, roll it back to tabletop. And then slowly, slowly, slowly walk those knees back. So you're coming into like a 3/4 plank. Checking that you're not sinking through those hips. Shoulder blades are neutral on the back of the rib cage. Spreading those fingers wide. Shoulders over wrists. Slowly lower down in one piece. The pubic bone barely touch the floor. So you're in that baby cobra position. And then I'm going to invite you to slide the lower arms forward, coming onto the forearms. So we can come into Sphinx. I like to just bring my feet a little bit wider apart, so more like mat width and shoulder width, but just it so it feels comfortable for your back. So that pubic bone's in contact with the floor, lift the front of the body, and then your shoulders are roughly over the elbows. Check that you're not jutting that chin up, broad across the collarbones, pausing here. If you want to make it a little bit more active, you can energetically think about drawing those elbows back towards the body. Gentle activation of the glutes. And breathe. And on your next exhale, slowly start to soften down. Slide the palms underneath the shoulders, tuck the toes, push up in one piece, and then slowly walk the hands back towards the knees. Maybe you come to kneeling or high kneel, maybe coming back to sitting on those toes, whichever feels comfortable for you. If you're feeling good, you can float those knees off the floor and come into that little squat, and you can circle out those wrists. Also a good chance to grab a drink. And then just checking in with that breath. I'm just giving my arms a shake. Checking in. We'll crawl back to tabletop, seeing how you're feeling. Maybe a little wiggle from side to side. And when you're ready, we'll meet up in our downward facing dog. So in your dog, making that lovely inverted V shape, so pushing up through the arms, lengthen armpits, head and neck are nice and relaxed, pelvis in neutral, soften those knees, don't worry about the heels to the floor, they will never touch the floor and that is fine. Just checking in. And then from here, that easy bear crawl, so this time I'm leaning right, shifting my left foot forward, I'm having a little lean left, shifting my right foot forward, moving my hands, slowly walking forward. Feet can be hip width apart, spreading those toes wide, relax the head and neck, awareness to the belly, push down to the feet, and then rolling up, lead with the belly, vertebrae by vertebrae, just allow the palms to travel up those legs. When you get there, maybe give those arms a shake, roll those shoulders, and I'm just gently adjusting my feet so we can come back into those little chair floats. So just pause in here, set your base. Sorry guys, I'm just adjusting my hair. And then from here, let's check that the pelvis is neutral, spreading the toes wide, knees are soft, reach the arms all the way up to the ceiling, lovely long stretch here. And as you exhale, hips gently start to float back with bending your knees. So hip flexion, knee flexion, ankle flexion, release those arms, push down for the feet, the legs start to lengthen, that pelvis stays in neutral, reaching up. And as you exhale, float back into your chair. Allow those hips to float back. Chest is lifted, broad across the collarbones. Let's do one more. Slowly, slowly, slowly come all the way up. Just pause in here. And on your next exhale, bring the palms together. Slowly bring the hands down through to heart center. Shifting the weight onto that right foot. Step that left foot back, come into your high crescent lunge. Just pause in here. Soften the shoulders. Checking in. Release those arms. Float those fingertips all the way up to the ceiling if that feels comfortable for you. Checking that pelvis is neutral. Inhale, lengthen that right leg. Then you're going to pivot on the ball of that left foot so the toes are parallel to the left long edge of the mat. And then from here, you're going to pivot on the heel of that right foot. Toes are parallel and wide. Bring the hands to the hip creases. Bend in that left leg coming into side lunge. So you can be high, you can be low. You can even bring the fingertips to the floor if you can keep that spine long. As we're hinging from the hip joint, that knee isn't pushing over the toe, it's either maybe in line with that toe or behind. So allow those hips to float back, so you're sticking at that backside, looking down towards the floor. Just pause in here, lengthen out that spine. Checking in with the breath. And inhale, push down to that left foot, slowly, slowly, slowly come all the way up. Pivot on that right foot, coming into warrior two. Pausing here in your warrior two. Checking in with that front knee, is it going in the direction of your toes? Check that that knee's not rolling in and out. So you've got your head, your body, not leaning forward, not leaning back. Shoulders are soft. Take a nice deep breath in. Reach the fingertips up towards the ceiling. Option to lengthen out that right knee. Exhale, soften down, warrior two. And let's just tip it back. Reversing your warrior. Reaching through those right fingertips, checking in that head and neck. Check they're not collapsing that lower back. And then just slowly, slowly, slowly float back to your warrior two. And then from here, coming onto the heel of that right foot, pivot that foot round, coming back into a side lunge. So you can have the hands on the hips, you can bring the fingertips to the floor, just pause in here. Lengthen out that spine, looking down towards the floor. Remember, you could be low, you could be halfway, you could be up higher. And then slowly, slowly, slowly come all the way up. And now I'm just bringing my right foot round and then my left foot, two lines, not one, so I can come back into that high crescent lunge. Check your base. Fingertips can point up towards the ceiling. Checking in with that front knee. Inhale, lengthen that right foot up. And as you exhale, soften back to crescent. Release the arms down towards the side of the body. Inhale, lengthen. Lengthening out that right knee. Exhale, soften, releasing the arms. Let's do one more. And then soften all the way down to your high crescent. And then from here, shifting the weight forward onto that right leg. Step or slide that left foot in. And then just bring that knee out to the side. So coming into a baby tree. So spreading those right toes wide so you're rooting down to the floor. Pelvis in neutral. Soften that right knee. Hands can be at the side or they can be at heart center. You can stay here. Check that you're not dropping your head forward. That's what I tend to do. Crown of the head towards the ceiling. And once you've got your base, checking in to see how you're feeling. How's that body feeling? How are the legs feeling? How's that balance? Would you like to stay here? Or can you slide that leg up a little bit higher so the toes above the ankle? Maybe up a little bit higher. Try not to put that foot on the knee just in case you put too much pressure on that knee joint. You can bring that foot up a little bit higher. I'm just going to reach to the wall so you can do that. And then you can push that thigh into, right thigh into that left foot into that right thigh. Hands can stay at heart, or you can grow branches. Hands can just dangle at the side. So remember, wherever you are, trees are all different. Branches can be short, so you can bend at the elbows. Branches can be wide, they can be high. And then just slowly, slowly release. Slowly heel toe the feet back, shoulder width apart. Maybe give those legs a shake, checking in with how you're feeling. And then reach the fingertips up towards the ceiling. Let's come back into our chair float. Allow the hips to float back. Release those arms down, push down for those feet. Slowly come up. We've got two more. Just taking your time. Let's do one more. Just keeping those elbows soft. Check that you're not locking out those knees. Slowly bring the hands down through to heart center. Shift the weight onto the left so you can step, slide that right foot back, coming into your high crescent lunge. Turn the ball of that right foot. Shoulders are soft, fingers are soft. Just see if that face is soft. Checking in with the breath. And then we reach fingertips all the way up to the ceiling. Inhale, lengthen. Start to pivot on the ball of that right foot. So the toes face the right long edge of the mat. Come onto the heel of, we're coming into warrior two, aren't we? Pause in here. And then from here, let's parallel the feet. Bend in that right knee coming into a right side line. So the hands can be at the hip joints. You can be high, you can be low, the hands can be down by the knees or fingertips on the floor. But just keep that spine nice and long. Movement from that right hip joint. Look down towards the floor. Push down to that right foot, slowly, slowly, slowly come up. And then slowly come back into your left warrior two, checking in with that left toe, set your base. Pause in here, checking in with that left knee, shoulders are soft. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, soften into your warrior two. And let's tip it back, coming into your reverse warrior. Reaching through those left fingertips, check in with that lower back, check in with that head and neck. And then slowly, 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 slowly come back to your warrior two. Coming onto that left heel so you can pivot around to parallel the feet, toes are level. Coming into that right side lunge. So remember, you can be high, low, fingertips can be on the floor, but keep that spine nice and long. Really lengthen out that spine. And then just slowly push down through that right leg, slowly come up. And you're going to just slowly and carefully pivot round, high crescent, two lines, not one, pelvis in neutral on the ball of that right foot, bring the fingertips up towards the ceiling. And then inhale, lengthen that left leg. Exhale, soften to crescent and just release those arms down to the side of the body. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, soften. Inhale, open. And exhale, soften. Just pausing here. You're going to start to shift the weight onto that left leg. Step or slide that right foot forward. So we're coming in to our tree. So the weight's on that left foot, spreading those left toes wide. Soften that left knee, pelvis in neutral. Lovely long spine, crown of the head towards the ceiling. Hands can be at heart or they can be here. Checking in, see how you're feeling. You broad across the collarbones as well. Maybe you start to slide that foot up so it's above the ankles. Maybe you come up a little bit higher, making sure you're not putting any pressure on that knee joint. Maybe that foot's up on the thigh and you're pushing that thigh into the foot into the thigh. Maybe you've got branches. Maybe your branches are short. Maybe they're out wide. Maybe they're nice long branches reaching up towards the ceiling. Maybe you're staying in baby tree with me. Just checking your base. Just let that breath flow. And wherever you are, just releasing the arms. Slowly, slowly, slowly releasing that foot down. Weight even on both feet. Just give those legs a shake, give those arms a shake. Maybe grab a drink. And then from here, we reach the fingertips all the way up to the ceiling. And we'll just slowly start to hinge forward. And then bring one hand down the other. And shift and lean, step and crawl it back. Downward facing dog. Check your base in your dog, pushing up through the arms, lengthening the armpits, relax the head and neck, hips are high. And on your next exhale, slowly, slowly, slowly come into tabletop. Set your base. And let's have a little lean right so we can open out into our side plank. So whichever side plank you want to come into, so that knee can be bent, it can be lengthened on two lines, you can slide it back, you can float that leg off the floor. And you've got the option to bend that left knee, maybe reach back and come either for that left foot or that left ankle, whichever feels comfortable for you. Check that you're not flaring out the lower ribs if you're in this position. Just one more breath here. And then from here, we'll just soften and come all the way to the tabletop. Lean into the left and just slowly rolling that belly open, slowly and carefully coming into which plank feels right on this side. So just checking your base, shoulder, wrist. Maybe you're bending that right knee, maybe you're reaching back for the ankle or the foot. Maybe you're just staying here with that knee bent and your arm just resting here. Just checking in, always checking in with that breath. And then we'll just slowly, slowly, slowly release, roll back to tabletop. Slowly bring the knees back so you're in that 3/4 plank. Check that you're not sinking through the hips, drawing the front of the body up, shoulders over wrists, lower down in one piece. Maybe you stay in baby cobra, maybe you come to low cobra, maybe you slide those lower arms forward, sphinx, joining me. So if you need to bring the feet a little bit wider apart, please do so. Gentle activation of those glutes, lifting that chest. Check that you're not jutting that chin up. You've got length in the spine. Soften the fingers. And if you want to energetically draw those elbows in towards the body, please do so. And on your next exhale, slowly soften down. Slide the hands underneath the shoulders, tuck the toes, push up to the knees. Slowly bring one knee underneath the hip, the other knee. Have a little wiggle from side to side. And then from here, let's just move the hips to one side, slowly coming around so you're sitting on both seat bones. You can face the front of your mat. I'm just going to turn to the side so you can see what we're doing. And we're just going to either roll into this 90-90 knees, or if that feels too much, you can just sit here And just do a gentle knee roll, gentle windscreen wiping, whichever feels comfortable for you. And then just seeing how that movement feels. You can sit up a little bit taller. That backhand can come off the floor, it's up to you. If you want to have a gentle twist once you get here, you can, but you don't have to, just checking in. I think that's my favourite phrase tonight, checking in. And then making sure you're even on both sides. And then from here, I'm just swiveling back round. You can stay here, palms behind you on the floor. You can bring the hands to the back of the thighs. And then you're just going to float one foot off the floor and then the other. That knee can be bent or you can lengthen it. Those little leg flutters, you can go a little bit quicker or stay at that slow pace. Just pause in here, keep that chest lifted, gentle hugging. Now from here, just do a few more. And then what we'll do, we'll bring our knees down. I'm just going to give you 3 options. You can stay here and you can just either keep the hands on the knees or the thighs. I've just got my lower arms and elbows on the floor. And we can just do that hip and knee circle here. I'm just imagining I've got pens drawing circles on the ceiling. You can stay here. So I've got my heels down by my glutes, lower legs rest in here. Or you can float those lower legs up, bring the big toenails together, knees in line with the hips. And then you can be here doing your hip circles. And then you change direction. And then if that feels okay, you can lengthen the legs out, big toenails together, toes point up. I'm squeezing and zipping my legs up, and then you can do your circles here. So if you're not already joining me, please come down and join me. So remember, you can start here with the heels down by the butt and the lower legs close to the back of those thighs. Just doing maybe 2 or 3, seeing how you feel. You can float the lower legs up and do your hip circles here. Imagine you're drawing circles, whichever one you're doing, circles on the ceiling. And if that feels okay, you can lengthen and just keep the movement just slow and controlled. It's a little bit of core strength, a little bit of mobilization for that pelvis, that little pelvic clock movement if you go to Pilates. And slowly change direction. Don't forget to change direction. Hands can stay in contact with the body, or I sometimes just float them and just allow the arms to feel heavy down by the sides. And once you've done both sides, just slowly give those legs a little hug in. And then we'll float one foot down, the other foot down, heel toe the feet wide, maybe mat width, maybe shoulder width. And then bring the arms maybe so they're about shoulder height, back to the hands in contact with the floor, palms facing the ceiling, or they can be a little bit lower than shoulder height. Just see what feels comfortable for you. Active twist. So we're going to bring the knees over to the left. Keep that right foot in contact with the floor. Legs are active. Push down for that right foot. Gentle activation of that right glute. You feel that lift slightly. Gentle hug in of the core. So that core is active. Right glute, the legs are. That right foot is active, activating the arches of that right foot. And breathe. Keep that head in neutral. Inhale, slowly roll it back all the way up to center. And then the legs are coming over to the right. So keep that left foot in contact with the floor. Push down for that left foot to activate the arch of the foot. Gentle activation of that left glute. Keep that gentle hug in. Legs are active. And then on your next inhale, slowly roll it back to center. And when you're ready to exhale, just rolling the knees over to the right. And when you're ready to inhale, slowly come up. And when you're ready to exhale, knees over to the right. Let's do that 2 more times, just taking your time and just working with your own range of movements, and nothing feels sore or uncomfortable, and we're not forcing it. Just gently rolling and flowing. And then once you've done, slowly, 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 just draw those knees in towards the body. Give yourself a big hug, maybe a gentle roll from side to side. Now to come back up to tabletop, you can either roll to one side, or you can gently hug yourself in, tight little ball, rock and roll up, maybe 1 or 2 rocks, maybe 3. See it, what you feel like. And then just slowly crawl all the way around and let's meet in tabletop. And once you get there, just have a little sway from side to side. Toes can be tucked or feet flat on the floor. Just let that breath flow. And then just a little lean to the right, step that left foot forward, tuck those right toes, slowly, slowly, slowly come up to that 90-90 kneeling lunge. Reach those fingertips all the way up to the ceiling. Have a lovely long stretch here. Pushing down through the ball of that right foot, lifting out of that right knee. That lovely long stretch. Keep reaching up. And then just slowly release the arms down by the side. I'm just going to come into arm floats. You can keep those elbows soft, fingers soft. You can keep the movement slow, or you can speed it up a little bit if you want to. But just keep those shoulders soft. And then from here, I'll just do 1, 2, and then float all the way back down to tabletop. Roll to the left and step that right foot forward, tucking those left toes. Slowly, slowly come up that 90-90 knee lunge, pelvis in neutral. Reach fingertips up towards the ceiling. So those palms can face in, face out. Pushing down to the ball of that left foot, reaching out of that left knee. Have a lovely long stretch here. Check that you're not holding that breath. And then just float those arms down. And then just coming back into those arm floats. Just taking your time. Shoulders are soft, elbows are soft. You can go a little bit faster if you want. And let's do 2 more each side. And then we'll just slowly float all the way back to tabletop. Tuck the toes, hips up and back, down, facing dog. Pedaling out those feet. Maybe a little sway from side to side, or maybe stay still. You're pushing up through those arms, relax the head and neck. And we'll just slowly, slowly, slowly lower the knees to the floor. Just roll the hips to one side. If you want to grab something to sit on, please do so. I'm just going to grab my cushion. And then from here, let's just bring that foot that's in front. Mine is the left foot. And I'm flexing that left foot. And you may be able to make room to flex the leg that's behind it. So you can have your right foot in front. Depends on which way you come into your easy cross-legged. And then you can stay here. You can bring the fingertips behind, have a little wiggle. And then you can slowly, slowly, slowly walk the fingertips forward. You can be here. You can be a little bit lower. And I want to see if you can feel a stretch around that front leg, around the hip, maybe into the glutes. So you can be up high, you can be low. The lower arms can be on the floor. Just have a little wiggle, just checking in, see how that knee's feeling, how that ankle's feeling, how's your back feeling. So it may not be appropriate for you to be forward, you may need to come up. So if you're up, just soften those shoulders. So you may not look like me, you may find that you're more in a cross-legged position. So any questions about what we've done tonight, you can pop me a message in here or you can drop me an email. And then just let that breath flow. Check that the breath is smooth and calm, not short and ragged. And that you're not holding your breath. And you may find that you may have to be in different positions for a couple of breaths. You may need to be high, then you may need to be able to soften the elbows, then you may be able to bring the elbows down to the thighs. You may never bring the lower arms to the floor, which is fine, but just taking the time, try not to force it, just checking in with that breath. And then we'll just slowly walking out of this. You can bring the hands back. You can just slowly and carefully swapping over the crossing of the legs. So for me, that's bringing my right foot forward, adjusting the feet, checking in with that knee, that ankle, and then checking with the other side. If you want to bring the fingertips behind you and open up that chest first, please do so. And please try sitting on a block or a pillow or a cushion. You may find it a little bit more comfortable for you. Remember, you may need a couple of breaths first in this position, sitting upright, before you start to come forward. And then don't worry if you can't come forward, that's fine. This side may feel completely different from the other side. Just allowing that breath to flow, soft and easy. And this is my tighter side. Let's do one more breath here. And very slowly and carefully crawl yourself back out. And then if you want to give the legs a little shake, a little wiggle, you can, or gentle roll from side to side. You can just stay here with the feet flat on the floor, bringing the hands behind you, open up your chest. I've got my fingertips facing forward. You can lift the hips up and just come into a reverse tabletop. Check that you're not just dropping that head back. And then wherever you are, we'll meet in easy cross-legged. And then from here, you can just bring the right lower arm down onto that right thigh, just checking in here. You may want to bring the right palm to the thigh, that right lower arm to the floor, just checking in. This left hand can stay here, or you can float it up and over. It can even be bent, it doesn't have to be straight. And then next inhale, slowly float up, bring that left lower arm down to that thigh, just pause in here for a moment, seeing how it feels. And if that feels okay, maybe left palm to the floor, maybe that left lower arm, left hand can stay here, or you can float it up and over. And then we'll just slowly float all the way back up. We're coming down onto the floor for our final relaxation. So I will suggest that you either put your socks back on, if you took them off. You can grab a layer. If you've got a throw or blanket, you can grab that. If you've got a cushion or a pillow, you can use that for your head. And we'll slowly come down to the floor. So your positions you can come into is heels to the outside corners of the mat, so that you're coming into your corpse pose, Shavasana, with the palms facing the ceiling. It may be more comfortable for you to slide the feet flat on the floor, feet about shoulder width apart, turn the toes in slightly, allow the knees to rest in together in this knock knee position. And arms are just away from the side of the body, the palms facing the ceiling. If it feels more comfortable for you, your hands can be in contact with the body, or you may like to curl up on one side. So wherever you are, just get yourself nice and comfy, making sure that your clothes aren't feeling uncomfortable. And just soften the forehead and the space between the eyebrows. Just allow the jaw to relax. And then just bring awareness to the breath. Bringing awareness to the inhale, inhaling through the nose. Maybe a soft, easy exhale through slightly parted lips, or maybe you're exhaling through the nose. I'm just going to slowly start to inhale for 2, and see if we can exhale for 3. We're just slightly lengthening that exhale. So inhaling for 3, sorry, for 2, and then that soft, easy exhale for 3. So inhaling for 2, soft, easy exhale for 3. And then maybe you can lengthen that exhale a little bit more. So inhale for 2, and see if you can exhale for 4. Just allowing the breath to be soft and easy. Just feel the body growing heavy, melting down into the ground, to the earth beneath you. Just feeling the earth meeting your body, supporting your body, grounding you. Just allowing gravity to draw you down. Just allowing and letting any tension melt away from the body. Just allowing yourself to be. Just focusing on the breath. See if you can keep that exhale slightly longer than the inhale. Head is heavy. Legs are heavy. Arms are heavy. Chest is soft. Ribs are soft. Belly is soft. And just bring awareness to the hips, the lower belly. Just imagine wrapping this area in a big warm blanket. A warm blanket of love and appreciation. And with each inhale, feel this warmth grow. With each exhale, feel this area relax. I'm going to say a mantra. You can just silently repeat it to yourself, and say it out loud, or just hear it. I create warmth. I create love. I create warmth. I create love. I create warmth. I create love. And just know that these words are offered with love and respect. And just bringing awareness back to the body. Maybe staying still. Maybe start to wiggle the fingers. Maybe start to wiggle the toes. Maybe you'd like to come into a full body stretch. Maybe stay still. Maybe you'd like to hug the knees in towards your body. Whichever movement feels right for you right now, for you to gently come out of your final relaxation, guided meditation. And then we'll just slowly roll to one side, whichever side feels comfortable for you. And then just slowly, slowly, slowly push and crawl yourself all the way up to easy cross-legged. Maybe kneeling, maybe easy seated. Keep those eyes closed, lengthen the spine, crown of the head towards the ceiling. Shoulders are soft, elbows are soft. Hands can be on the feet or the thighs. Check that you're not rounding the shoulders forwards, you're broad across the collarbone. Just that natural breath, soft and easy. Soft and easy. And then the next inhale, float the arms and fingertips all the way up to the ceiling. Have that lovely long stretch. And when you're ready to exhale, bring the palms together, slowly bring the hands down through to heart center. So allow the thumbs to connect to the heartbeat. Fingers are soft, elbows are soft, shoulders are soft. Take a nice deep breath in, open the mouth, sigh out. Slowly bow the head towards the fingertips. Take a nice deep breath in, open the mouth, sigh out. And just slowly flutter your eyes open. Maybe gazing at your fingers or down at your mat. Just allowing your eyes to grow accustomed to the light. And then take a nice deep breath in. Big sigh out. And slowly, slowly, slowly bring your head all the way up. From my heart to yours, thank you, thank you, thank you. Namaste. Thank you very much, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that. I did keep running up to the screen just to see if there was any messages for anybody who is new to the class tonight. But enjoy the rest of your evening, and I'd like to wish you a happy new year, and I shall see you soon, everyone. Thank you. Good night.